So I think I started off under Sachin, who was very calm, at the same time very passionate, because I mean he set a different kind of standards himself. So sometimes he felt that the other guys around him also should meet the same kind of standards. So he wanted the best out of everyone. So, but he was very calm and encouraging, and made others very comfortable. And then I had Azhar, who was the captain, who was not, I would say, his communication wouldn't be as good, but saying that he used to lead by example, and he used to be calm again. And most of these guys, I mean, then comes Saurav, then comes Rahul, then comes Anil, then comes MS at the moment. So everyone, I've got a different kind of leadership skills, but important thing for a leader is the man management, especially when you're the captain of the country. It's all about managing your players and making sure that they are mentally ready for the game, so, and making sure that each one is given a certain role, which is so important. If an individual in the team can stick to his role and can perform his role with distinction, it's but natural that the team does well, because each individual is doing his role and performing his role to perfection. So I think that's what a captain does in the team, where he assigns a particular kind of role to each individual depending on their skill set and depending on their strong points or temperament. And the players just go out and try and do that.
Very true. And Anu was just saying, you can say that in the mic, Anu, and that really wraps it up.
I think this resonates perfectly with Satyam, because what we say is every Satyamite is a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so the reason why I'm here is my uncle Baba, who's my mentor, is part of Satyam. And he's so passionate about Satyam. So I'm sure that all the associates of Satyam are very passionate, and that's one of the reasons why I came here. So it's very important that each member of the Satyam family thinks that he is a leader, and that's how, and performs his role with distinction, and that's how the company will flourish in future.
Thank you. Renu, you have a question? I can see the mic in your hand. Yeah. So let's
Thanks, Laxman. I think that was a very good reply. What Satyam is going through right now is perhaps all the individuals of Satyam are also going through it. You in your career have also gone through lots of lows and highs. I would be more interested in knowing how have you handled the lows, the disappointments in your life, and what message would you like to give to the Satyamites here?
To start off, I would just like to give a little bit of background. I always wanted to become a doctor, but along with being passionate about being a doctor, I also was very passionate about cricket. And luckily my uncle, my mentor, he was the one who identified my potential, and he was the one who helped me in taking the decision of taking cricket as a profession. The moment I took cricket as a profession, there was only one single objective, one single goal for me, that is to represent the country. And my father always taught me that irrespective of what profession you take, you have to glorify that. So right from my 17th year, that was the time when I took a decision that I'll take cricket as a profession. My only aim and objective and the goal was to represent the country with distinction and serve or perform for the country in the maximum capacity I could do, and play and perform to my potential. So my motivation was that I have to play for the country and do well for the country and win matches for the country, and that was the only motivation. So there were times when I had some low points in my career. There were times when I was dropped from the team, and there were times when I thought that I should have been there in the team, but I was dropped. So during that situation, the only motivation for me was I have to get back on track. Yes, I introspect what went wrong. I introspect my shortcomings, and then I analyze the way I could come back. Sit with my uncle, sit with my coaches, and understand where I went wrong, and then work towards it and become a better player and come back strongly into the team. But the biggest motivation was to play for the country, and that motivation always kept me going and coming back on the right track whenever I was off it.
That's a very good message, Laxman. And I think the way you take simple pride in just being part of the team, representing the country, there's a lesson in it for all of us. I mean, we've got to take pride in the fact that we belong to this company and be proud and that we're representing this company even in these troubled times. So thank you for that question, Dr. Renu Khanna. And I want to ask if anyone else has a question. Yes, sir. Could you just identify yourself and then ask the question?
Hello, Lakshman. This is Hemant Kakodia. Actually, there are two questions. First one is that from where you got inspiration to come up in this game? And the second one is, which one is your favorite? One Day International, Test Series, and a 2020, and why?
I got the inspiration, like any kid in India, I used to love the game. You know, and I used to play with my brother, play in my neighborhood, play in the school. So, I mean, I was quite passionate, and cricket was more like a hobby. But as I said earlier, that it was my uncle who was instrumental in making sure that I take cricket as a profession. You know, even though I had a lot of doubts myself at that age of 15, 16, but probably my uncle knew the potential in me, and he had more confidence and more belief in my abilities than myself. And so it was him who actually decided for me that I should play cricket and take cricket as a profession. And luckily for me, my parents never objected that. You know, so I think that's how I got into the game of cricket in the professional manner. Secondly, which of these three formats you love? I love all the three, to be very honest, because it brings out different kind of skill set when you're playing these formats. You know, I mean, in test matches, everyone knows that, you know, there's a lot of test of your skill as far as your technique is concerned, because sometimes it's not only about surviving for a longer duration, which is so important in test match, where you have to play and get big knocks. But you know, all the purists say that test match cricket is nothing but it's a test of skill or a character of a player. So that's why I like, because every cricketer, if you ask which is the best format they like, they would definitely say test match cricket, and they get the satisfaction if they do well in the test matches. Saying that one day is again a different kind of skill set you require, but after 2020, not many people love playing one days, you know, and I also agree with that, because given a choice between 2020 and one days, I would choose 2020, because I think it's quite entertaining for you as a player or even for the spectators, because they've actually cut down the boring part of one day cricket, which is from the 28th over to the 45th over, and they've actually put the first 15 overs, which is the power play, and the last 5 overs, you know, and everyone loves watching the batsman hit a 6, hit a 4, and so I think I prefer 2020 than one day cricket. But when you do well in all three formats of the game, I think you will be very, very satisfied and contented as a cricketer, because as a cricketer, you prepare yourself to adjust and adapt to various situations you are in, you know, and all these three formats give you, or you know, you put you in a position where your different kind of skill sets come into play, you know. So I think performing in all the three formats will give a lot of satisfaction to any cricketer.
Do you think 2020 World Cup is going to be more popular than the One Day International World Cup? What do you personally feel?
No doubt about that. There's no doubt
so?
about that. Yeah, 2020 is the future of cricket. You know, so I foresee where in the years to come it will be only 2020 and Test match cricket. Unfortunately, the one days will die down, and there is a lot of. I think there is a lot of scope for 2020 to become. I mean, ultimately, cricket is a sport, and it's a form of entertainment. And I think you get full worth for your money and value for your money in 2020, where it's not only entertainment, not only on the field, but off the field also.
And because of your legendary ability to analyze, I'm going to take your opinion for it and believe in that. I think so too, that 2020 is going to become more popular. And you mentioned about your uncle getting you into this cricket, believing in you. So I want to ask this next question to him. If you don't mind, we're going to put him a little bit on the spot. We're going to bowl a bouncer to you. And so Baba Mohan, what exactly did you see in Laxman at that point of time. He says around 15 to 16 years old. And you gave him that initial push and brought him into cricket.
Thanks, Pramod. As I'm known as Baba KR in Satyam. See, it's like this. Lakshman keeps giving me a lot of credit. But to be very honest, I am trying to make my son a cricketer. I'm failing at that. So it's actually Lakshman is talent. Bottom line, it is a passion that he had for the game. And the way he used to be obsessed to become a good cricketer, the love for the game was too much in him. And all I saw in him was a talent. And I was so confident when I was playing with him right from childhood that here is a very talented cricketer who will play for India. Right from his very childhood, even before he went to the coaching camp, the spark was there in him, the talent was there in him. He was a natural stroke player. So when the coaching camp came just next door, St. John's coaching camp, I took him on the very first day, and he came all the way from Nampally. Let's not forget that. He took a bus, came all the way from Nampally. He was just around 10 years old at that time, 10 or 11 years old.
I think that deserves a big applause.
And he came all alone. He took a bus and came. I took him to the coaching camp on the very first day. Narasimha Rao was who started the coaching camp, who played for India. When I went back to bring him, because home was next door, his immediate reaction was, we have got a very talented cricketer, he's a very skillful cricketer. So the talent existed, and then obviously, you need to follow it up. As a mentor, you need to follow it up, and which I did definitely. Even now I do. Even now I tell him what he needs to do when he goes to New Zealand. So it continues. It's a continuous process. Whether he wants it or not, I keep getting after him, really getting after him. And I can tell you one thing, he's a very good listener. He follows good advice. He's very disciplined. He's very passionate. I've not seen somebody who's so committed to the game. And no distractions, total focus. So that's all I have to say. But so that for every mentor, there has to be a good mentee. Only then it will work together. Having said this, Laxman, I wanted to ask you a question. You have worked with various coaches. You worked with John Wright. You worked with Greg Chappell. You worked with Gary Kirsten. What are the different styles these coaches bring to the table, and how do they coach you people in a game of cricket? How do they motivate you? What did you see, the good points? Let's not take the bad points. The good points in each of these three people whom I just mentioned. And how do, apart from the coaches, the other people like the physiotherapists, all the support people, what is the role that they play? Basically they are the parachute keepers. They make the parachutes, just like Satyam School of Leadership, the human resources, the finance, all the support function in Satyam. We make the parachutes for our billable associates to do their real job on field. So, but these are the main people who make the parachutes. Similarly, what did you see in these people? What roles did they play? What were their styles, and how did you see them play their roles?
To start off with John Wright. I think John Wright came in a time when Indian cricket was in a mess, especially after the match fixing scandal, and we had a new leader in Saurav, and I think the combination of Saurav and John Wright changed Indian cricket for good, and that he was the first foreign coach. So the first reaction after meeting the Indian boys was that he was surprised with our preparation for a test match or any game, and with our work ethics, the way the Indian team used to function. So I think he got in a lot of team spirit within the team, because till then I think there was a lot of hierarchy system in the team where there's a lot of juniors and seniors. And I remember one incident when his first assignment, his first test match as a coach for the country, and we were playing Zimbabwe in Delhi, and we had SS Das who was making his debut at that moment, and he reached his 50, his first maiden 50. And not many of us actually came out and clapped for him. And that really amused John Wright, and he came and actually shouted at the boys, saying that, I mean, he didn't understand how the team functioned when a debutant gets a 50 and not many of the team guys actually come and applaud his efforts. So that's what he brought to the table, where he got in a lot of passion within the team, and he wanted to improve the work ethics, and got in professionalism, and which he was very good himself. I mean, he was a very hard-working coach, and a very hard-working man, as far as making sure that each cricketer, each team guy, gets fully prepared for the test match. I mean, coaches are more. I wouldn't like to go too much detail into John Wright, Greg Chappell, or Gary Kirsten, because all of them had their own success. All of them also had their bit of failures. But the general idea of coaches at the moment in world cricket, or which we experience as international cricket, is they are more like friends, and they are more like someone who makes sure that the cricketers are well prepared to take on the cricket field, and they believe that their inputs is making sure that they give all the necessary facilities, number one, making sure that the senior most cricketer to the junior most cricketer gets the kind of practice which he wants. Like, if, for example, if suppose I have, as I said earlier, that I have got a certain routine, the way I prepare before a match, so he'll make sure that I go through that routine, so that, and in whatever capacity he'll come and make sure that I do that routine, and I am mentally ready for the test match. So it's more about getting the team ready for the test match. And here and there, whenever a player has got some technical questions about technique, or questions about probably, the way he's not handling a certain bowler, or the way he's not handling a certain situation, the coaches come in to play, where they try and first understand the problem, and second try and give suggestions to the player, but never force the solution on the player. So I think it's a very good way of a very good relationship between the coach and the player, which is so important. And secondly, regarding the physiotherapist or the trainer, cricket is quite a hectic game now, where you play so many games throughout the year. So obviously it's ultimately a human body. So it's but natural that you get a lot of injuries, and none of the cricketers are 100% fit when they take on the cricket field. Some of them, even with 80% fitness, they still go and play, because ultimately you're representing your country, and pain is not a barrier which takes away, which does not allow you to play for the country. So until and unless it's a situation or injury which doesn't allow you to go onto the field at all, then otherwise most of the players play with niggles, and the physiotherapist helps in making sure that the niggle is managed properly, either by say treatment before the match, or say some kind of strapping. So various kind of various kind of exercises, making sure that the player is ready for the match and is comfortable enough to play the cricket game. And then the trainer makes sure that we are concentrating on a fitness, because the more fit you are, the better you can recover and play well for your country. So the trainer, even though we are playing cricket day in and day out, he makes sure that he has got training schedules which help the cricketer to at least maintain his fitness levels during the season. So I think, as Baba said, that it's very important that all the support staff and the coaching staff play their role, because it's the success of the team doesn't depend only on the cricketers, but all these people behind the scenes are important, and their role is very, very important, making sure that the cricketers are best prepared for the match. But sometimes, sometimes it's always very thankless jobs, because ultimately the cricketers get the credit for what they do, but all these people effort sometimes go unnoticed. But all these people definitely deserve huge praise from everyone, and the kind of hard work they put day in and day out is amazing to see. And sometimes it really motivates us that when a coach or physiotherapist or a trainer are trying their best to make sure that we should be ready for the game. So even though you may sometimes be mentally fatigued to take on the cricket field, but you keep yourself motivated, seeing the kind of passion these guys have. And we are lucky to have some very good coaches who coach the team.
I like the way you brought out very expertly the difference between the captain and the coach and the physiotherapist and all these support people and how they have a role. Very interesting. And this could be one of our last questions because we're running out of time. So we have one person waiting there. And since Laxman was talking about a coach, we have an executive coach with the School of Leadership. And that's Pawan. And Pawan, you have a question for us.
Sure. Thanks, Pramod. Thanks, Laxman. My question to you is, Indian cricket has been through some controversies and scandals, especially the match-fixing scam. You've always been hailed as a true gentleman cricketer, and you have handled these controversies and come out with a dignified personal brand. How do you manage to come out with such a dignified personal brand during the thick of these controversies?
Controversial question.
I think I have to give a lot of credit to my parents because upbringing plays a huge role in this, and the value system which I was inculcated right from my childhood has helped me to stay away from all the distractions, and as I said earlier that I'm very passionate about representing the country, and that was only my goal, and only my objective, and I didn't want any distractions, whether I'm part of that or whether I'm not part of that, to be affecting my ambition of representing the country for a long time. So I think upbringing and value systems are very, very important in any walk of life, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud, to be the son of such distinguished people who have carried themselves so well in the society. Both my parents are doctors, and both my parents are known for their value system and the kind of dedication or service they do in the field of medicine. So I think it definitely boils down to your upbringing.
Well said, Laxman. We've all admired you, how you've came across the thick of all these gruesome scandals with such a squeaky clean image. So we are winding up now, and I have just one last question for you, and that is, Laxman, what next? I mean, what do you foresee as the future? For one thing, personally, I'd like to see you in the World Cup. But what do you think as your future plans?
See, at the moment, I'm concentrating on the New Zealand tour. It's going to be a very important tour for us because we've not played too many test matches in New Zealand. And over our careers, most of our careers, we have done well overseas, where we've won matches in most of the countries. We've traveled and become a better touring side now. But I think New Zealand will be the last challenge because we won matches in places like South Africa, West Indies, England, Australia. So we would like to win the series in New Zealand. So that's going to be my immediate target. Secondly, I think we all want to be the #1 test playing nation in the world. So I think if in that process, if I can contribute and achieve that, I will be really pleased. Yeah, personal milestones are very important, but for me, more than the personal milestones, I will be really happy if I end up my test career being part of the #1 test playing nation in world cricket. That will give me more satisfaction.
Great, well said, Laxman. If there's anyone who can make that happen, I believe it is you, personally. And Laxman, on closing, I'd like you, this is not a question, but this is a request for you. Is there any message that you'd like to give to Satyamites? You know what we've been through, and that's why we really loved when you came over, because we know you've been through a lot of ups and downs too, and so what kind of message would you give to Satyam, who's listening?
Yeah, it's unfortunate what has happened in the last 2-3 months, but saying that, I think all the associates of Satyam should feel proud that they have achieved so much in the past 1 or 2 decades, and they are one of the leading software service providers in the country. And wherever I go, say in places like Australia, the name of Satyam actually people talk a lot, and they always tell me, oh, you're from a place where Satyam actually originated. So I think it always makes you proud, you know, when a company from your city or your place actually makes a name for itself in world. So yeah, it's going to be a tough phase, but I firmly believe that with the kind of passion all the associates of Satyam have, and the kind of energy, kind of positivism all the associates of Satyam have, they can definitely overcome this small hurdle or obstacle. And they should be remembering what they have achieved in the past, and they should be remembering that what is their goal, what is their objective. And I'm sure their objective is to be the #1 say software service provider in world. So I think if they can remember that, and each one can do their role with distinction, I'm sure that each one contribution will help Satyam to grow in stature and definitely bounce back from the temporary obstacle which they are having at the moment. And I've got no doubt that there will be a lot of successes in the future. And I wish them all the very best, and by God's grace, I'm sure that they will overcome this obstacle and come back strongly. In cricketing terms, we call that come back strongly. So they'll definitely come back strongly, bounce back strongly, and definitely achieve their goal. And I wish them all the very best.
Thank you very, very much, Laxman. You're a very, very special person to us. And just as we are proud of you, we assure you we'll do our best to continue to make you feel proud of us. So I'll request you to give a standing ovation to Laxman, and I request Shobana from our strategic communications team to come over and hand over a small token of our appreciation from Satyam Learning World and HR to Laxman. Thank you very much, crowd. You've been really good. Thank you.
Cheers.